Today's sermon is on the tools that we will be using for our ascension. And when I talk about our ascension, I'm going to be talking about your own life and your own experience with it. Because your personal life, we can't ever possibly escape our own consciousness. Our own framework of understanding reality is how we're experiencing things. And even though we are all one and we are connected to every other being, it's difficult for us sometimes to step outside of our own consciousness. And it's okay to understand, as long as you remember that we're all one, that the changes that are happening in your life are also indicative of the changes that are happening in a higher way. And the changes that are happening in a bigger and higher way are also going to be happening in your own consciousness. Hi, Teddy. Thank you for joining. So the tools that you're going to be using on your own personal journey, ascension-wise, are going to be dependent on your own choices and your own, what resonates with you the most. So you are just one piece of the puzzle, but your entire reality is connected to everybody else's entire reality. So you might have noticed in your own life in the last few years that your awareness has shifted, that you are finding more meaning in things that are more than the material realm, and that you are finding vapidity, surface level things, or hatred or anger to be tiresome, boring, or draining. And you're starting to realize that when you focus your energy on certain things, that it feels much better than when you focus your energy on other things. So you might find yourself getting tired of gossip, or tired of working for somebody else, or tired of just the daily grind. And you might start feeling yourself thinking about alternative ways of living, solutions-based mindsets, and higher potential realities for your own life. You might think, well, I want to have better friends, or I want to make more money for creative purposes, or I want to practice my artistic talents. Whatever it is in your own life, you're going to be experiencing a transition from a third dimensional reality to a fifth dimensional reality. And we use those words just because they're easy and cohesive to understand, because when we're talking about 3D, we're talking about the material world, we're talking about the physical reality, the materialistic and ego-based. Not that the ego is bad, but just that there is a limitation on what the ego can provide. And so when we're ascending into the fifth dimensional reality, it's a good way to describe it because it also encompasses the third dimensional reality as well. We're just rising into a more complete way of being. And that's where telepathy comes in, because telepathy is a more complete way of communication. Sign up for the telepathy class on the Patreon today. So the tools that I've identified that we're going to talk about today, that are going to help you in your own transition, in your own ascension, in your own understanding of your personal reality of changing your life from something that is unhealthy, a drag, a bummer, stressful, into a utopian way of being, which is joyous, healthy, vibrant, and fulfilled. You're going to be, it's not easy to transition. It's, even though we're headed towards something that's really bright and beautiful, it's not an easy situation. And there's a lot of there's growing pains, there's hardship, there's suffering, and we want to let go of that suffering. We want to try to step into something new, but it's very difficult when our entire lives, especially like the older you are, the harder I think it is, because your entire life you've been rooted and grounded in a certain way of being, and now things are changing. And so it's birthing pains, it's growing pains, it's transitional changes, and there's a lot of resistance sometimes that is happening. So if you feel that resistance, these are the tools that are here to help you with that. The first tool that we have is technology. And the way that you use technology is really important. When you start to, you know who's the best at this? Marie Kondo. She says, spark joy. What sparks joy? And we should think about our technology in the same way as our homes. What is sparking joy for you online? If something is creating a discordant vibration in your reality, you don't need to follow it. Our technology is here to help us ascend. It's here to create a stronger sense of community. It's here to teach us things we don't know. It's here to open up our minds to potential realities that we haven't yet thought of. And it's here to empathize. It's here to help us empathize with other people's experiences. So when you're reading or seeing other people's experiences online, that is actually creating pathways in your brain of empathy, where the next time you see somebody out and about who's like the person you saw online, that gives you a bridge of understanding. So it's no longer us versus them, it's actually unity and harmony. And so when we're thinking about the internet and we're thinking about our technology, think about it from that place. Are you endlessly scrolling? Are the people you're following creating a powerful reality around yourself that is actually harmonizing your energy rather than creating a discordant vibration? If you're following people who make you feel jealous or angry or upset, or you just want to like if you're following Trump and he just makes you so mad, like, you don't need to follow it. Really, it's not going to change much if you stop. If you feel happy to be in the loop with things, then be in the loop with things, but don't let it bring your vibration down. Your energy is so important. Your energy is the most important thing in this reality. Cultivate a positive energy through your technology. I have a timer on my phone at night where the screen goes black and white. That has helped me so much because late at night I'll be online and I will not be feeling good. I'll just be scrolling because I'm scrolling because I'm in this like sort of trance. Notice when you're in those trances. But also utilize technology to find your community, to find your truth, to learn your passions. Utilize technology for all the beauty that it affords. The second tool I'm going to talk about is controversial, and I actually haven't talked too much about it because I haven't had very much experience with it, but it's psychedelic drugs. And I have been seeing a lot of people using them consciously. So when I was growing up, I stayed away from them because I had a friend who took mushrooms and she destroyed the interior of a car. I had friends who did acid, and after an entire night of tripping on acid, they came back and they had no knowledge to share other than, I'm me. And so I never really felt like these were tools of enlightenment, like everyone was saying, because the people around me were not using them as such. They were using them as a form of escape. But when you look at psychedelics as the potential to see the truth and the potential to see alternate realities that exist around you, the popularization of drugs like ayahuasca, like DMT, the usage of them in this more holy, ritualistic way is not a mistake. It's very true. You do not need drugs to get enlightened. I personally have not taken psychedelics. I took mushrooms very recently, but up until 2 weeks ago, I had not used them. I got to where I am without any drugs. So please know that I'm not saying that you have to use them. I'm saying that this is a potential tool. And I just want to say, if you choose to use them, do so with an enlightened perspective. Drugs should not be used as an escape, at least beyond very short-term, medicinal escape that might be needed to cope with a stressful situation. But if you have a situation that's ongoing and you need drugs to escape it consistently, then you actually need to escape that situation. If you're using drugs to consistently escape your reality, then you need to change your reality. Drugs are not supposed to be used that way. They're medicine. Think about it that way. So when I'm thinking about drugs, this is going to be your own personal choice of what you are choosing to do. You don't need them. But when we're looking at a macrocosmic sense of how these things are becoming popularized in society and why people are gravitating towards them. I was talking with my friend about DMT. I have not yet tried DMT. I would like to try it because I have heard very interesting things about it, consistent experiences. It seems like DMT is something that opens up your mind and connects you to a true other dimension. It helps you see that other dimension. I feel I can see other dimensions without drugs. That's very cool. But I'm kind of curious about seeing it in this way. So the thing with DMT is, my friend was saying it's a death molecule because it's released when we die. And I woke up this morning and the information in my head was, it's not a death molecule, it's a transition. It's there for a transition. So yes, it's present in death. It's present in dreams. And the reason why it's present in our society right now is because it is helping us transition into the fifth dimension. That doesn't mean that everybody needs to do it. We're talking about the collective consciousness. So a certain amount of people are going to do this, going to utilize these drugs, and it's going to help us transition into a higher way of being. So think about the usage of psychedelic drugs and how they're being used and why they're being used. And, choose to do that in your own life. Recently, mushrooms were decriminalized in Denver, in Colorado. That's a huge change because I'm pretty sure they were a felony from before. So we're seeing these societal changes around psychedelic substances, and I think that that's because we are seeking to change our realities a little bit more. So this is a tool that you can use. It's a tool that's going to be used in our larger society, and depending on how you approach it, it doesn't have to be a scary thing. It just has to be something that you make a decision on your own self. All right, the third tool is spiritual leaders. And the thing is that in 2020, we're going to see a huge shift of consciousness changing. There's going to be 90% of the population is going to suddenly be like, okay, this is actually not okay what's happening. Politically, this is not okay. And I don't just mean this is not okay like rah rah on Twitter. I mean, this is not okay like we are actually going to start changing things. We're actually going to stop typing and we're actually going to do something. And I don't mean just like, the thing is that right now we're at a place where we have a limited number of people who are awake and aware and upset. It seems like a lot if you're in that community, but it is still limited. There's still a large number of people who are like, why is everybody so upset? And they're just going along with the status quo. But we're going to reach a turning point where more and more people become aware that life is not serving them. Society is not serving them in a way that is healthy or happy. And so the majority, it's like a tide. So the majority of people is going to be in 2020, and people are going to be like, this is not okay. And then we're going to have more power when we have the majority behind us, So right now it's a minority of people saying, what the heck is going on? But there's still a lot of other people in opposition. But there's an awareness that is flooding through the society. So find your truth. Find what makes you truly happy. Remember that we're all one. This is not an us versus them situation. Yeah, this is Camp Church. And the people who have already been through this, there's a certain number of people who became awake in 2012. There are star seeds. There are people who have been trying to change society for a long time now. And we can utilize these people, YouTubers and other teachers who have already been through this. We can tap into their knowledge. And obviously a lot of you are following me. That's you're on some kind of a spiritual journey online, which is so cool. Maybe it's voyeuristic for you. Maybe you're like, saw this weird thing online, trying to check it out. This is so weird. Isn't this weird? Isn't this weird? I feel weird. I just can't stop watching. There's so many weird videos. I just love to keep watching them. Why? You're undergoing a spiritual transformation. And so that's okay. You can utilize spiritual leaders and you can think that they're weird and you can have it like a voyeuristic thing, because eventually you will start to see the truth of what they're saying. So find spiritual leaders who you resonate with. We're so lucky to live in a time where there are more and more and more spiritual leaders. In 2012, if you woke up in 2012, there weren't that many, hardly any. And if you woke up before that, then that was really rough. There was a group of people, awake before that, but they're a very small minority compared to the rest of the world. So props to them for being the OGs. And utilize spiritual leaders. Just follow. You don't have to, there's no right spiritual leader. It's about who you resonate with. And that's what's so cool about it. That's something that Gabby Bernstein taught me. She said, we need as many spiritual leaders as we can get, because you're not going to be for everybody. And everybody's going to resonate on different levels. So if you feel called to be a spiritual leader, share your experiences. Just be honest and authentic and do your best to create love around you and information, and spread information from your own perspective. Understanding, and it's okay to share your journey even if you're not like fully enlightened. I started when I was like still having a lot of issues with my emotional reality, and that's okay. That's part of it, because people will understand. Because even though we need a lot of different spiritual leaders, even you on your journey is important, because you're a different type of spiritual leader as you go. The next tool, we're going to talk about creative tools and exploration of creative energy. So as we transition our reality, it's going to be really important for you to find your true passion. Whatever your true passion is, that's the reason why you were born on earth. That's your own unique truth. And maybe you were told as a kid that you weren't allowed to do that passion because of your gender, or because of some kind of limitation, or because you weren't good at it, or you felt like you were ashamed out of it, or maybe you never had something that dramatic happen to you, but you just feel insecure or unsure, or you never were given the opportunity to do something. Well, as we're transitioning, this is going to be really, really, really important for you to try to uncover what it is that makes you truly passionate. What makes you feel so happy to imagine doing? Please, please, please do that. That's going to create and generate so much light. That's so divine. When you do the work of your true heart, that is divinity. That is actually creating a better world. Use your creative tools to explore. Do not compare yourself to other people. The more unique your thing is, the more true it is to your true heart's expression, the better. Please, be yourself. Express yourself in a creative fashion that is in alignment with who you are. This doesn't mean it has to be traditionally creative, like painting or writing or something like that. Maybe you're an accountant. Maybe your true passion is accounting and spreadsheets. Make complex spreadsheets. Like whatever it is that makes your heart glow, please do that. And the most important tool that we have in our reality is our own consciousness. Your own consciousness is more important than any of these other tools that I have said. You could, through your own consciousness, ascend. None of these other tools would help you ascend without your own consciousness. This is the fundamental tool that you absolutely need. Look in the mirror and see yourself. Who are you? Deep down. Your own consciousness that's inside of your body. Your feelings, your passions, your excitement, your sorrow, your negativity, your positivity, your frustrations, your anger, your entitlement, your love. That is you. That's your energy. And the more you understand that energy, the more you understand who you really are and what you truly like, the more you can draw boundaries around yourself to protect yourself. The more you can find out your true passions, the more you can feel the subtle energies of other people and the earth, and you can find out what sparks joy for you, what truly makes you happy, what is truly in alignment with your life path for your own purpose and passion. So spend time with yourself. Get to know who you are. Really understand your own consciousness. And that's going to be your greatest tool of enlightenment. Thank you for joining me for Cam Church. I love you all, and I'll see you next week. Send your donations to paypal.me/Unicult or on the super chat on YouTube. And also, you can just Venmo me, Unicole Unicron. But sign up for the telepathy class. I would rather you spend your money that way because I want more people in class so we can all become telepathic. Thank you all. Uni bless.